this board as a whole has not been requested nor given written permission for information, recordings, or live streaming of this board meeting to be published on any public website, streaming site, or social media account. And any transmission of any personal recordings of this private organization's board meeting is in violation of the Texas Penal Code. We have Phil Kennedy, Jerry Sullivan, on the phone, Kelly Harrell, and Charlene O'Brien. The minutes that were sent to everybody from July 27 board meeting. Do I have a motion to accept those?
Who makes a motion to accept? I'm sorry.
I think there's items that need to be discussed before they can be accepted.
Such as?
I withdraw my motion.
Is no one speaking right now?
No,
one
ma'am.
is speaking.
No, I'm going.
We're reviewing the minutes before
Yes.
accepting them.
Okay, well, I would like to put on record that with regard to these minutes, that our record keeping has specific purposes. Our minutes. They provide transparency, organization of action items, assignment for those specific tasks, in an effort to track progress of the board for the community. Overall, these minutes are incomplete for complying with that.
How so?
I'm having trouble reading documents on my phone. There are information in these meetings that are specific for tracking that are just way too brief. They're incomplete.
That's the purpose of sending these out in advance so that we can have these type of discussions. This was sent to every board member. The changes that you requested were made. I did send the revised copy and I did not get any response from anyone. So in the future, if there are changes that to be made, I would ask that you please respond so that these can be adjusted prior to the meeting.
Thank you, Kelly. I brought up previously that taking 5 hours out of our day going back and forth without face-to-face discussion on these minutes, some people would reply, other board members would not reply, and some of the comments didn't get discussed at all. They were just told, no, we're not doing that. I didn't feel that it was just discussion to be doing it via text message and email as it was not productive. I still feel that way. I do not think that it's doing the job that this function is intended for. And that's for this board and boards to come. I do not think it serves the best interest of the community to continue doing it that way.
Okay, so Charlene, I'm hearing that the agenda that was put out, what was discussed, you had some discrepancies, those changes were made, it was sent back out, and there were no further changes, is what I'm hearing. Is that correct?
No, that's not correct. I did not review those via text and email. As I explained to you, I do not feel that activity is productive and in the best interest of this community. And no, all of my suggestions, my comments, and my questions were not addressed. They still are not included in these minutes.
And what's not included in the minutes?
Well, first of all, one of the things that I have a question on with regards to the minutes is the discussion with David Simons. As those minutes read, it can be interpreted that the information that David said that was needed was for the POA to provide so they could receive funding. But I believe the true intent was FEMA was trying to make sure in reaching out to the POA that the POA hadn't filed a separate claim from the homeowners so that there was no double dipping going on. So I believe that discussion needs some clarification.
Okay, so it says David Simon stated he is willing to pay for the container up front of $5,000 if the board chooses to move forward with the road proposal that was presented. However, he will want to be paid back his money.
Well,
Give me a minute, Kelly. I'm trying to get to them.
Jerry, do you have anything?
I do.
In that,
I do.
I mean, in what she's talking about?
Not on that specific item, no.
Phil, do you have anything to talk about as far as that conversation?
no, I don't.
Okay, Kelly?
I do not. I think the only thing that was sent to me in email was a clarification on the dollar amount. As someone said it was 6,000 and I stated that it was 5,000 when we reviewed the recording it was in fact 5. And that correction was stated in the email to everybody that it was in fact 5,000.
Okay, Charlene, while you're looking that up, can we,
I've got it.
okay,
Kelly Ron read a letter from David Simons from FEMA, and the letter stated CBAS POA was not eligible for FEMA funds as our subdivision rules state that CBA POA is responsible for road repairs. She said we could appeal, but needed the following documents to proceed. So we, as in homeowners, I mean, it's a very simple fix, not we as in CBA POA.
okay, that wasn't even put in here. The letter, I read the letter that David gave us. Correct? And that was in his letter.
It says you read the letter, that is correct.
Okay. And that, is that what you had, I don't have my, where's that notebook that I gave you? Let me see if it's.
That's where we get into semantics. Like, on road repairs, she said we could appeal. So the we refers to who? CBA POA, or we as in
Individuals.
homeowner and homeowner of the
Anybody.
property that David Simons is referring to.
Anybody.
And I did it.
That's what I'm saying. It needs to state homeowners there, not we. It just needs clarification.
Property owners. I think it should say property owners, Charlene.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, I can certainly make that change. Again, that was not in any of the emails that went back and forth between us, the numerous amount of emails. That was never stated in there, but I can certainly make that change.
Okay, thank you, Kelly.
Which line item was that in?
Discussion, FEMA letter.
Yeah, and it's the last,
Okay.
it says budget, go down to budget, and then it's the last bullet point in budget.
Yeah.
Another item that jumped out at me was that when we discussed Jerry's plan, it was agreed that we would send that to Hog Heaven as to show progress, that we were moving forward with a plan to ease their questions. That's not in the minutes anywhere. Furthermore, my receipt of the treasurer information, I did indeed receive the information from Kelle Harrell. It says that there was a review. I disagree with that. There's not a review. I did accept the information, but the transition was very quick and I don't feel like it was reviewed. I know
When you say review, it meant, Charlene, that each tab that in that binder that I gave you was explained as to each specific tab and what was located in that tab. I asked if there were any questions and you said that there were not. Certainly, I have no problem getting with you. If you would like for a one-on-one session, I can certainly review in depth what is in each of those tabs if anything was not clear for you.
Right, I agree. That's necessary, I think, with this board and every board moving forward. Again, it's just the detail in the minutes don't reflect, in my opinion, accuracy. Furthermore, the executive session,
Yeah, I've
I
got,
don't think that there is a brief summary that's accurate of what we discussed, and it doesn't infringe on anyone's private identities or anything else. And I did ask that that be included, as I felt it was important and vital to the community that they know that we are discussing this, and it was not put in there. And it was the summary on Little Lake engaging the spillway once the level had rose. And that was deemed because the pumping had stopped. I do believe that is essential and important to the community information. That was not put in there.
I reviewed the tape and it was just a FYI to Jerry at that time before we went into executive session that I gave him. It was not part of the meeting minutes. It was just an FYI, and I asked her not to put that in there because it was just a fly-by-night, just FYI statement, and it stated that on the recording.
We also talked about an executive session that was not recorded. So based on those few items, I am unable to accept these minutes as they are written.
well, and then I have a comment to make on where this bullet point, a director who is not on Facebook, director took issue with another director's personal Facebook page as a code of conduct issue. That doesn't tell anybody what that was about. And we're supposed to be explaining in the executive session what, at this meeting, what was going on in the executive session. And there was a post made on one particular director's Facebook page of a little girl making some gestures that could be termed to be vulgar, and I said that I did not think that was appropriate for a board member to have on their Facebook page. And the board member said, well, it's my personal Facebook page, and I don't have a problem with it. And I said, well, it may be your personal Facebook page, but everybody that you send stuff to sees that. And it's a reflection upon the board of directors.
Again, this was an executive session, and I know, Charlene, you're talking about transparency here, but an executive session is supposed to be a summary. That was a summary of the executive session. Now, if we're going to get into line item by line item of everything that we discuss in the executive session. It's just supposed to be a general summary
Well,
of that.
I just felt that the general summary should be more specific.
Yes, I agree.
Phil?
I understand what you're saying 100%, Kelly. What I'm pointing out is that there are things that are not included in the brief summary, therefore it is not accurate.
And that's why we send these out early, as Kelly said, to get through this so that we don't have to take up 3 hours in the board meeting, and we can move on to the business at hand that needs to be done. Phil?
My understanding of executive summary or executive meeting is for the purpose of just allowing the membership to know the topic of discussion and the outcome of it. It's not to go into any detail. That's my understanding of the code personally, and until somebody shows me different, I believe the whole purpose for executive sessions is to give a level of anonymity to individuals and certain things that should not be discussed in public.
And Kelly?
I would just say, again, in the future, the meeting minutes are sent in advance for a reason. There were substantial emails going back and forth between all board members. None of this information was brought up at that time, and I would appreciate it being done then instead of intentionally being called out in a meeting to intentionally find fault in someone who's a secretary. It's not appreciated. So again, that's why I send the minutes in advance, so we can have this discussion in advance. If this is the kind of games we're going to play, I'm more than happy to do that, but I think it's unprofessional and uncalled for.
Well, thank you for your opinion, Kelly. And once again, I'm going to restate that process, sending them out early for review by board members, is great. But to have that discussion via text and email where directors are not weighing in, where there is no conclusion, is not effective. I'm not calling anybody out. I'm not playing games. I am saying that process is not effective for what the purpose of the minutes are.
And Charlie, the initial minutes were sent out, changes were requested, those were made, and final minutes were sent out. And I had no comments from anybody until today. And those meeting minutes were sent out Tuesday. The final draft was sent out Tuesday. So everyone had a substantial amount of time to let me know if there were any changes and if we needed to have an additional discussion. That's my point.
Yes, ma'am, I understand your point. I did bring it up in executive session before the Q&A. I made it very clear then, all the directors were present.
Okay, so we need to move on. Are we with the changes are there any other changes to that need to be made? Phil?
May I make a comment?
Okay.
See if I can keep my foot out of my mouth today. When you have a secretary take your minutes, or whoever's assigned to do it, I don't believe there's even a regulation that says that person has to, that they're required to present it to every board member through emails and other forms of communication before the next meeting. By sending it out early, the secretary or whoever is recording the minutes has gone beyond their requirement and allowed other board members to see a proposed minutes before they arrive to accept them. After I've read the minutes, and if I have not spoken to the secretary through the course of emails for making corrections, then it's on me as the board member to notate the item number and the error and make a request for it to be changed specifically. If that has not been done, I believe that it's not intended that the entire board meeting be consumed with going over previous minutes. So at this point, I would request that those on the board that have a specific issue with a line item, they state the line item for the record and how they think it should be changed, how the wording is incorrect. Beyond that, if we can't come to an acceptance of the minutes, then we would simply have to take a vote on whether or not to accept them as they're read or as corrected, and see how that goes. If we get an insufficient majority to pass the minutes, then we move them forward to the next board meeting. But we have an awful lot to cover. You know, we could really get ourselves bottled up on stuff like this.
Yep.
I would propose that we move it forward to the next meeting and have these items, as you say,
Carried forward.
and we can make notes as to what we think should be in there, and it can be addressed at the next meeting.
That would be my recommendation. But you had some things that were different than what were being discussed in the conference call, so I did want to give you an opportunity to, if you had some change specifically.
Well, I stated what it was.
Okay.
I can put that in writing, and I'll be happy to do so.
I guess, do we want to take a
So
vote on whether to accept the minutes?
Do I have a motion?
I have a motion to move the meetings forward, and for the board members who have still comments to be made, to make them, and this can be addressed at the next board meeting. That's my motion.
Philip seconds that motion. Oh.
Before I say anything, I would like, if we're gonna approve minutes and go over minutes in the future, that we do it on a verbal conference call, not text messaging and email.
Okay, that's maybe the wrong time for that discussion.
Yeah, but right now
We're in the middle of a motion.
A motion to table approving these minutes until the next open meeting has been made. Bill is seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the approval of the executive session summary that was sent. Does anybody have?
I have comments. These are bullet points. They're not summaries.
Bill?
No.
Charlene?
Again, in going over these as a point of record keeping, action items, assignment, organization, any specific task, in an effort for records and to track progress, there isn't a summary. These are strictly bullet items. It doesn't say that we talked about anything, that there is any conclusions or anything that we did.
So you would prefer that the discussion items discuss personnel issues, discuss code of conduct, discuss policies and procedures? That's what you would have written there? Is that what I'm hearing you saying?
A general summary of the discussion of those issues.
Right.
Okay.
If a vote was taken on something, then the vote should be included.
Okay. So what needs to be changed for that?
Okay, what did we talk about regarding personal issues? What was the result? Code of conduct, what did we talk about? What was the result? Policies and procedures, what did we talk about? What was the result? Same thing.
There was nothing. We talked about each of those items and then closed the executive session, is my memory of it. We made no decisions on any of those items. We just had a general discussion of them. And those items are the whole purpose of having it in executive session.
Kelly?
I would agree with Phil.
Jerry?
Again, I think there should be a summary of those issues. And, you know, this executive session was called because there was supposedly an emergency, or we had to have this session and everything, and we didn't end up making any decisions. So it makes you question why we even had an executive session.
And as a matter of fact, sorry to jump in there, but 3 of those items are not even executive session topics. Code of conduct, policy, procedures, website.
The website was in there as an after fact. We had personnel issues that we needed to discuss, and tried to get the code of conduct, and so that we need some sort of code of conduct with this board so that we can do what's in the best interest of this community. And Phil's been working on that, which we will discuss later on. But
And that's your personal opinion.
do we accept these? Do we not accept these? Do we table them as well?
I'm not willing to accept them.
I just don't feel that the incompleteness of them is the best service to the community for reference and record keeping.
And what I would ask then, Charlene, is why don't you send me an email of how you would have written it when you were the secretary, and that's what we'll change the meeting minutes to.
I have no problem making suggestions. And
Again,
I appreciate you being open with that, Kelly.
Yes.
again, do I have a motion to table? Do I have a motion to accept?
I'll make the motion to table.
I second that.
Can you state your name?
Charlene O'Brien.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You two on the phone?
Aye.
That's Charlene, right?
Charlene and Kelly.
Yeah. Any opposed? Okay. Treasurer's report.
Okay, at the end of June, we had $12,999.74 in the bank. We had deposits totaling $3,755.03. We only had one expense in the month of July, and that was $9.75 for Shaco, leaving a balance in the checking account at the end of July of $16,754.77. Our money market account, we had 21 cents interest, leaving our money market balance at $2,541.63. At the end of July, our loan principal was $11,577.34. The additional interest that's been accrued that had not been paid at that time was $759.35, leaving a total payoff for the loan of $12,336.69. We had 11 property owners with still outstanding dues, totaling $2,379.62. That's all for the treasurer report.
We have a motion to accept or discussion.
Philip makes a motion to accept the treasurer's report as read.
Do I have a second?
Charlene O'Brien seconds.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. Okay, next item, discuss and act on new website owned by the association. I have contacted Wix. Phil had mentioned that Wix is a good program, and it comes to light that because our name is Camp Branch Acres Subdivision Property Owners Association. That's what's in our bylaws. That's what was filed with the IRS. That's what's on our nonprofit status. I looked up cbaspoa.net. It is available. Wix has a program that is $17 a month. It allows 2 collaborators, 2 gigabyte storage space, like marketing. We don't need marketing, but anything like that. The first year we get the domain free, and after that, I think it's $24.99 a year after that. But this is what I have found out as far as obtaining a new website.
You have a handout on that?
I just have this that I printed. If you want to take a look at it, you can.
Well, I don't think it's fair to the people who are on the phone to for them not.
You can go to Wix. I don't know if you two on the phone can go to Wix website, Kelly, or Charlene. This is just the general information off the website.
And can you spell that for me, Kelly?
WIX.
All right. Well, thank you for inquiring with them, but I'm not going to be able to make a decision without thoroughly looking at this company. I mean, everything you say sounds really good, but I mean, I'm concerned with guidelines and changes and rules.
I'm not really sure that that's the issue for this morning.
Yeah. So, well, what is being proposed here then? Are you putting out information for us to evaluate so that we can make a decision at another time?
Well, we need to make a decision because we need to be able to get into our post our dedicatory instruments. The property code says that we are supposed to maintain a website that is managed by the association. Mm-hmm. And we had talked about this a couple of years ago that there might be an issue with letting. We're grateful that the domain has been donated to the association, but it's come to the point that the association needs its own website.
I agree that the association needs its own website, and I think my daughter would be very happy to see that go away. But by the same token, I think this has to have proper review, proper determination, and a vote by the board. And I think just laying it out here in front of us this morning does not give us time to do that.
Well, we can agree to research. We can vote today on obtaining a website. Which website we can vote on at a later time.
I don't have any issues with that.
Okay.
I would make a motion that we obtain the new domain name so that we can get that domain name and we would own that domain name. And then if there's a question as to what the website needs to be or what, vendor we're going to use for that, we can have discussion. But I would make the motion that we obtain the domain name, which I don't see any issue with that.
I second that move.
May I just have a discussion before we second?
Okay.
What we're talking about to obtain, do we want to obtain a domain name or do we want to request the current domain name holder to transfer the current domain name, since most people are familiar with that, from a private name to Camp Branch Acres Subdivision Association?
That domain name is cbapoa.org, and our legal name, that's the only reason why I added the S, cbaspoa.net.
And you can do a DBA for $10 and you're legal.
Kelly?
I don't know about that. I don't know what, a previous owner may still own or may still have access to.
The registrar of domains can change the owner of a domain. That's, people sell their domains all the time to other people. So that's just one thing I just wanted to mention. And the other thing is, I think, financially speaking, the cost of getting a domain is usually under $20, I think. Is that what you found?
For a year, $24.99, I
Okay.
think. Is
All
what it
right,
was.
so we're talking about an annual expense of $25 today, is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So that's all I have. I would be willing to go ahead and have more discussion or go ahead and make a motion or continue the motion and take a
Okay.
vote.
So the motion
Yeah.
on the table is, oh, sorry, Charlene.
For the sake of discussion, I like the idea of a fresh start, and I will support that 100%. I do like the cbaspoa.net, and personally, I feel like that would be a pretty easy transition.
Why net instead of org?
It wasn't available.
Somebody else already has a CBASPOA? Wow,
Yes, sir.
that's a lot of letters.
California.
Really?
Okay, so Kelly has a motion to obtain the domain name of cbaspoa.net. Do I have a second?
Philip can second that.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye, Charlene O'Brien.
Kelly, did you say aye? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And
Yeah,
Jim?
I'm good with it.
Okay. Any opposed? No. Okay, next. Next, budget spending discussion and approval. Okay, so first item is discuss and act on changing budget lines. We had talked last month about consolidating the expenses area. There were some lines that are not being used. There's too many. And it was brought up that we needed a general fund under there. So it's being proposed that the 3 road maintenance, asphalt road improvements just be consolidated into one line item. The secretary pay, the postage, the office supplies be combined into the general fund. And then the extra that was remaining from the liability insurance, we had allotted for, I think, $1,399, and we only spent $1,122 on our liability insurance, general board member liability insurance. So that was $287 that could be put into that general fund. So the proposal is to create the general fund, move those items into it, leaving $837 in that fund, and then one road maintenance fund. Charlene, you were, I'm gonna ask you to talk about the money market deal in just a minute, but changing the money market account to a capital reserves account to be discussed at a later time. Does anybody have any questions about the proposal or the proposed changes?
I wish I had a hard copy in front of me because this is awfully hard on my phone and I don't have a printer at home.
The only thing I would say, Kelly, is that the previous board voted to do away with the secretary pay. So in that general fund, it would just be postage, office supplies, we wouldn't need secretary pay in there since the previous board voted to do away with that.
We had voted to do away with it, but we never removed it from the budget line in open
Yes,
session.
that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying, to remove it, yes.
So that,
Can a board vote amongst itself to change the bylaws like that?
it's not the bylaws, it's the budget. It's the budget. The board votes for a budget, an annual spending.
But it's in our bylaws. If it's in our bylaws as an expense, I mean, I understand, it's being donated, reallotted, I mean, I get that, but I still think it needs to be in our budgetary items as long as it's in our bylaws, written as clearly as it is. It was a question.
Okay.
Is that, can we do that? That doesn't feel right to me.
We can leave the secretary pay on there, but in accordance with the state, this is one of the amendments that I was wanting to put out because we need to get in conformance with Texas Property Code, and so that was tabled until.
And so it still hasn't changed, so we still should leave that item in there.
So the secretary, we can leave the secretary pay on there.
Whether we
Everything else is good.
Yeah, whether we pay it or not, it's another story, but we can just leave it in there so that we're in compliance.
So Phil, would you mark on that second page?
Okay. So while she's doing that, some comments to you guys is this is basically a chart of accounts. It's just whenever there's an expense for accounting purposes, there has to be a line item for it. I don't see that our chart of accounts is very extensive, and I don't, see that it's significant to keep or remove any of these items myself. So, I would like to see us have a discussion about a capital reserve account being added to our budget.
Mm-hmm.
That's, to me, the only one that's of consequence.
And I would be in agreement with that. And a chart of accounts is just an accounting way of keeping track of things. That's all that is.
That's all that is. But it does need to be there.
Yeah.
For consideration if it's going to be an expense. If you're going to be talking about something and setting aside money in the budget for it, it should be there.
I agree. I'm no issue there.
Right.
Okay, so leave the secretary pay, general fund, that would change to $637, and then just the one road maintenance line item. Any other changes?
Well, my question is kind of to go back with what Phil just said. I mean, is it necessary to change what we currently have?
We have to. Yes, we need to do that in open session.
No, I understand to be done in open. My question is, is it really necessary to combine all those line items? I mean, I think Phil, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what I just heard you say is itemizing like that is a clearer picture for the expense, but it didn't, one way or the other is good. So what do we really need to change what we've been operating off of?
You brought up the proposal of adding a general fund in this, and that's why this proposal was made.
Well,
It wasn't my intention to take things away.
yeah. So,
Okay, so is there a motion to change this or not? Or to table it? Because next month is going to be budget discussion.
I would be willing to make a motion to just add one line item, which is a capital expenditure fund, and leave the rest of it the way it is.
We don't have a very large chart of accounts here to begin with, so I don't think it should be changed often.
Mm-hmm.
But I do see that it's missing a very important one that is everywhere you look in proper stewardship, proper everything for an association. It speaks to the importance of having a reserve account for emergency purposes. And if we're not doing that, we're not doing our job for you, the membership, if we don't have that account and don't set money into it.
So right now we just need to.
I would not vote for changing any of the line items that are there today. I would vote against that.
Okay.
But I would vote for a motion to add one line item to the current
Chart of accounts.
chart of accounts,
Which
would be a reserve account. Goes by different names, but it's basically a capital reserve account for emergencies. So if we get stuck with something that we didn't expect, that we have somewhere to go. Because right now we talk about the road, but we had no way to actually do anything until we got money from either a loan or from the government.
That's what the money market was set up for, as an emergency fund.
But it's not.
So-
It's not specific.
It's not identified in the budget in the chart of accounts.
That's why it's not acceptable.
Okay, so this is not, what's the word I'm looking for? We're tabling this. Do I have a motion to table this and talk about it at a later time?
Why do we need to?
Do we yeah.
Because it says discuss and act on changing the budget line, so.
Well,
we
that's
either
what we're
need to
doing.
We're making a proposal to
Okay.
change the budget line to add.
okay. So we have a motion,
Philip makes a motion to add the line item reserve account or capital reserve account, some similar title that identifies a specific savings for unforeseen expenses by the association.
do I have a second?
I'll second that one.
All in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, discuss and act on loan payments. We had discussed on making the loan payment last month, but we didn't vote on it in the open session. If we pay the $68.35.41 this month, and the remaining expenses that are estimated for the rest of the year.
Kelly,
Yes,
I
ma'am?
apologize for questions. Before you get into that, may I please say something
Sure.
with regards to the money market account?
Go ahead.
Thank you. The money market account, the need for the capital reserve emergency fund could easily be in a separate account and should be, but it should be liquid to the board for the community needs on an emergency basis.
Okay, that's,
I would like to speak now on my findings when I talked to the bank about opening an additional account.
okay, that is our next line item to discuss that. Can we wait until we discuss the loan payment, or does that need to come before the loan payment?
What I would say with regard to that is the $2,500 some odd dollars that is currently in that account is liquid to us to move over to the consumer checking account that can be put with the loan payment to bring that interest rate down even more. In the past, it has been reported that that was not liquid to us, that it had to stay there, and I have found out through the bank that that is not accurate information. It is available to us, and it can go to that loan payment that you're speaking on right now.
Okay. Well, in continuation of what I was talking about, that is great that we can move that over, but at some point we're going to have to make some deposit into that. It's my understanding that we got a phone call that because it has been dormant, if you will, for lack of better terms, that we've got to figure out something on it. But in making that payment, the board decided to keep the money for January or February's payment in there at the end of the year because it's in best practice. So that payment is $6,835.41. Last month we talked about paying the loan off.
Yes.
At the end of the year, with what our budget states, if we make the $68,35.41 without having that transfer over, we would have roughly $8,587.36. If we made the full payment of $12,393.31, we would end the year, and this is after all expenses for the year, we'd end the year with $3,129.46 at the end of the year.
I'm sorry, it's very hard for me to follow you. I wasn't given that spreadsheet that you're speaking on right now.
It's just putting in the loan payment that in that spreadsheet that y'all work off of. That's all it was.
So, Kelly, what I heard you say was that if we paid it off early, we'd still have $3,000 at the end of the year?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's without the
I just round numbers.
Okay. Well, I would make a motion that we pay it off.
Okay, Jerry makes a motion to pay off the loan. Anybody else?
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I fully agree.
Jesus, we will have that thing gone. Okay. All right. Now, Charlene, you're on with the money market. Did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Yes, with regard to the capital reserve account for emergency purposes, opening a new account for capital reserve would cost us somewhere between $15 and $23 a month. We have the option to modify the money market account, which is only earning us $2 a month in interest. We can modify that to our capital emergency fund account with no charge whatsoever. We would also, with a new account, have to put $500 in there to start. We'd have to keep $500 in there at all times, and all transactions for the first year would have to be held, all deposits would have to be held 7 to 10 business days. It is in the community's best interest for the board to modify the money market account to the capital reserve account for emergencies. That is my finding.
I'll make a motion that we do it.
Can we be more specific on what the motion is?
I'll make a motion to modify the money market account to become a capital reserve account at the bank.
What do we want to? Do we want to put just capital reserve on it? On the account?
Frankly, what's important is we have a capital reserve account.
Yes.
That's a line item.
Yeah.
Where we want to put the money is just our choice. I think it's a great idea because it helps to have it separated. You can see it easily when you're going over the finances, and you know how much money you have set aside for reserves, and it's set aside from the main checking account, so you don't accidentally want to dip into it.
Exactly.
So basically what I see what we're doing here is we're simply deciding to use the money market account to hold our capital reserves.
Yeah. And the bank could care less what we call it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We all know what it's for.
That's what the question was. Do we want to call it something else, or do we want to call it the money market or whatever?
I don't think we need to officially change it. You know, it is a money market account, and that's where we're deciding to put our capital reserves.
Into. And that's what we're agreeing to do.
Right.
Jerry motioned, who seconded?
I'm still talking, but okay.
I'm sorry.
We're listening.
We're not voting. You may continue.
I suggest that we title it, emergency reserve account.
That's fine. I don't have any issues with that.
I don't have any issues.
I think we should stay with what normal verbiage is, and capital reserve account is what's everything I read when I'm looking up.
I'm fine with that also. It's not a big deal.
Okay, then let's do it.
Okay.
So
Now, can we leave the 2,500 that's in there as the start of a capital reserves fund so that we have some money in there?
I would like us to do that, but that's not part of the motion on the table yet. So we'd have to
No, it's
have
just
a
a
new motion.
question.
That could be a separate motion after we do this one, or Jerry could amend his motion to include that.
Yeah, it was just a question because I didn't know with Charlene's investigation with the bank if that's a possibility, or do we have to take it out, move it over, and then move a deposit back? Was my question.
Let's let Charlene answer that. Charlene? Charlene?
We can yes, thank you. We can make a deposit as little as 1 penny to activate that account. Move out the $2,000 and leave in there whatever we can move out whatever we want and leave in there whatever we
That
want.
confused me. Why are we talking about a penny? That would be for a new account.
We have to make some kind of deposit to reactivate the account when
Oh,
we
it's been put in
restructure.
suspension.
Okay.
It's inactive, right? Because
Okay.
there hasn't been action.
But it has money in it, doesn't it?
Yes.
So we just need to add to the account in order to keep it active. We can't just tell them that we want it to be active.
I'll
That's
contribute.
correct.
I'll contribute
They're
I'll contribute $1, okay?
I was gonna say, I put $1.37 in there when I was trying the PayPal thing.
All right. So anyway, let's see. Here.
Okay, the motion to restructure the money market account to the capital expenditures account was made by Jerry. Do I have a second to modify that account?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Was that your motion, Jerry? Did she restate your motion correctly?
What my motion was to take the money market account and convert it to a now we would term it a capital expenditures account.
I called it a capital reserve account.
Reserve, okay, capital reserve account. Somebody write that down, okay? And that we contribute, and that I will contribute $1, and we can reactivate that account.
Kelly, did you get that?
I did.
Okay.
I second that motion if there's no
Kelly,
further discussion.
Kelly seconded it, and I all in favor. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Do we really have to have a motion on what we're gonna call the name?
No.
Okay.
I
Thank
did that. It carried the motion, didn't we?
you. Yes.
We
Okay.
have Jerry made a motion.
And it was called a capital expenditure account. It's in that motion.
It's a capital reserve account.
Capital
Reserve. Reserve, okay.
Okay, capital reserve is what it's gonna call.
Okay, somebody write it down.
Yeah.
Correctly when in the minutes.
Okay, next. We had received $750 already from a FEMA owner. Do we need to return that? Discuss and act on the return of that if need be.
I think so.
Yes.
Those funds, to my knowledge, were given to homeowners for the sole purpose of the bridge repair. If we're not doing the bridge repair, then that money should be returned, in my opinion.
Okay, Charlene?
That's inaccurate. That $750 was personal essential money provided to the homeowners for personal essential needs lost during the disaster. Electricity, food, water, medication, for lodging, since they were out of their home. That is separate 100% from anything to do with the road, and I have confirmed that.
Can you
Okay.
supply us with that?
So I think we just need to ask the homeowner, does he want that money back, or does he want to consider it a donation?
That's exactly where I was going.
He just gave me his receipt that says this money is to be used only for road repairs to the access road located on East High Line. So it is my understanding, David, that you would like for the board to keep it.
No, just the
No.
opposite.
Give it back.
Go back to the FEMA fund.
Okay, it needs to go to the FEMA fund. So we need to make. I'm going to give you that.
We don't have the FEMA fund.
It will go back to the homeowner and he will write a check.
With the
Or-
rest of his FEMA payments for whatever y'all decide in.
And he's sitting here shaking his head, yes,
Yes.
Charlene.
I sure will.
Okay,
All right.
so
So I
motion.
make a motion to return the $750 to David Simon.
Philip seconds that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? Okay, discuss and act, there is a deposit card. Charlene, do you have that?
I believe it's in one of the binders that Kelly gave me.
Okay, so that was set up so that we could try and do the electronic payments, for, property owners to pay their dues. It didn't quite work. For any of these websites and looking at, they only accept debit or credit cards. We need to discuss and act on changing that deposit card to a debit card only for those online expenses that we can't write a check for.
That's not what this says.
It says, discuss and act on changing the deposit card to the debit card. Okay, full website. Okay, I put website payment on there because
Divided by, yeah.
that,
I'm confused by that line item entirely. A debit card is generally a debit card. Is this a debit card? Do we have more than one debit card?
no, we have a card. It's for deposit only. The board voted to get a deposit only so that we could try and get our bank account set up to receive electronic payments from the property owners. Zelle didn't work out. The PayPal did with that. But now PayPal is starting to charge us if you go over $600. Okay, so it's a deposit only card. It can't be, we can't take it anywhere. So it would have to be secured with the bank.
It's a
to change
physical
that.
card that you can use electronically for making deposits with?
Yes.
Okay, I've never heard of such a card. I'm sorry for my ignorance here. To me, a debit card allowed you to take money in and take money out. I've never heard of a one-way card.
Well, and
Yeah,
this,
Nora, since that's kind of in the treasurer's wellhouse, can we table that and let me find out some more information for clarification?
I was going to propose to table it because this, you're saying this is for a website payment and we haven't even made that decision on how we're going to handle that yet.
Well, in order to purchase the website, we need some kind of payment to, or at least that domain.
Like, checks can be written.
I'm
Most
not
of
sure.
them,
Some places
no.
are becoming electronic only now for some
Right.
certain things, so I can't say for sure if that's accurate.
We should be able to issue an electronic payment,
That's true. You can do that through any checking account.
Yes,
the ACH electronic payment.
yes. So, again, I'll make the motion to defer that and we can use EFT to pay for the purchase of the
Domain name?
Yes.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Do I have a second?
Who made the motion?
Jerry?
I did.
Then I'll second it. Philip?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Right, discuss and act on payment of monthly expenses.
6.
Do we have any expenses? Charlene, did you file those?
I managed it last month. Oh,
Liens?
I haven't got to that one yet.
No,
Okay. We had a payment. Go ahead.
they're on my,
Somebody coughed and you cut out.
sorry, they're on my list.
Okay. Do we know exactly how much that's going to be by chance? Last time it was $110 a piece, and there were 2 of them that I know of. Did you hadn't checked into that?
150 is what I was told per
Okay.
transaction. That's up from the last time I inquired a year and a half ago of 132 each.
Okay. Payment to Hog Heaven. We had discussed that it was $50. They're going to charge us $50 for using this building.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, I
Do you
wrote-
have the chance?
I've
Jerry.
signed it.
Betty's got it.
Okay. So that's already been paid.
We paid it this morning.
Okay. We have a motion that is okay to pay.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we pay Hog Heaven their $50 that we've already given her the check on this morning.
Philip seconds.
All in favor?
Excuse me.
He's not ready.
I'm trying to wrap.
Jumping the gun.
Yeah, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any other payments that need to go out this month? Any requests? Okay, that's done.
I would just make one note that we should not issue the checks until the board approves it in the future.
Okay. Discuss and act on the code of conduct that Kelle had.
Wait a minute, let's back up just a minute, please. We, to pay Hog Heaven, but I, even though we agreed in that meeting to do it, I have to come back to the next meeting and get it approved a second time.
No.
I.e. for what we just discussed and agreed to pay David Simons. So I write the check to David Simons, but I need to bring it back to the next meeting for the signature and get a second approval. Is that what I'm hearing?
I don't think
When
so.
we discuss it in open meeting, yes,
I'll make a
you're
motion.
fine to write the check. But if we haven't discussed it in open meeting that we were gonna pay, and we all agree, then no.
So do I need to
Can you
make,
wait-
so do I need to make a motion to pay David Simon?
No, we just did.
All right, so
We've
we're gonna write,
already done that,
so
so
it's gonna be-
Shirley, when you come back, you're gonna write the check and give it back to him.
okay, move on.
Yeah. Okay, the code of conduct for board members, Phil, had sent this. Did anybody have questions, concerns?
I have concerns and I will not be signing it.
And your concerns are?
My concerns are that you're trying to remove me from the board because I won't sign it, and your condition says that if I don't sign it, I automatically resign, and if I don't automatically resign, that y'all will have the authority to vote me off the board.
Phil?
I've got to have it up in front of me before I make any comments.
Well, where is it? Lay it out here.
One thing we should do is even if, gosh, I don't have a printer, so for me to actually, I need to have a hard copy when we're discussing something like this.
Well,
So I need to go buy a printer if I'm going to,
bring it.
or we need to have some copies for the board printed up before we come to a meeting, one or the other.
Do you have them?
What?
The code of conduct?
It's right there.
Okay.
Share it with you.
Okay.
So this was a sample that I downloaded from online. It just was for discussion. I don't know, do we need to read it? Because I don't remember all the line items that were in it without doing that. Do you want me to read it out loud?
Yeah, let's read it out loud.
The title on this is Camp Branch Acres Subdivision Property Owners Association Code of Conduct for Board Members. The Camp Branch Acres Subdivision Property Owners Association, called the Association in parentheses, Board of Directors will use its best efforts at all times to make decisions that are consistent with high principles and to maintain, protect, and enhance the value of the association assets and quality of life. The Board of Directors has approved the following code of conduct for its members in order to guide and maintain a high standard of ethical conduct in the performance of association business and to ensure that the residents maintain confidence in and respect for the entire board. Line items to follow are 1, no individual shall use their position as a board member for private or personal gain. Number 2, a board member will at all times, subsequent to a vote, support the decisions of the majority of the board, regardless of the position that board member has taken at the time of the vote. Item 3, no board member, except the chairman, will assume or is vested with any authority to direct a member, contractor, agent, or employee of the association unless directed by the chairman to do so in writing, i.e., a letter, a text, an email, or board minutes. The authority of board members is limited to the vote upon policies of the association and participation in the meetings of the board. Confidentiality of other board members' personal lives, that number 4 is what I'm reading now. Confidentiality of other board members' personal lives, all residents' personal lives as well as employees' personal lives will be protected by the board members. Number 5, members of the board will conduct themselves in a respectful manner to other members of the board and homeowners. Board members will not publicly or privately ridicule anyone. The chairman or his/her appointed designee is the only individual authorized to speak on behalf of the association. A board member will at all times uphold his/her fiduciary duty to the association, in addition to upholding the duty of care, a duty of loyalty, and a duty of confidentiality. 7, I understand that I have various duties to the association and that I will be in breach of such duties if I divulge confidential information to persons who are not on the board of directors. I further understand that these duties extend into the future so that I will be bound by this confidentiality requirement even after I no longer serve on the board of directors. 8, in addition to any other remedies that may be available to the association in law or in equity, any board member who violates this code of conduct or refuses to sign the code of conduct agrees to immediately resign from the board. In the event a board member refuses to resign after violating this code of conduct, then the remaining board members may vote to determine whether the code of conduct has been violated. If a majority of the board determines that the code of conduct has been violated, then such a finding shall be entered in the meeting minutes, and the decision shall have the same impact as if the board member in violation had submitted a formal resignation. Number 9, no provision of this agreement can be rescinded, altered, or amended without a majority vote of the members of the board of directors. Then it lists a line for each position and for a signature and a date. That's the end.
And my response in response to yours, the board cannot remove anybody. It has to be sent to the members. I was trying to find that in the association book here. So the board can't remove anybody. It has to be sent for a member vote.
I'm glad
Okay.
you understand that.
Yes. So I was trying to find it and trying to do two things at once. It's just not working. So, and that is not the reason that any kind of code of conduct is being drawn up.
Well,
Okay.
These, like I said, this code of conduct is not acceptable to me.
Well, I have no reason to think that we need the last part, because all of the stuff that is here is basically in state statute and isn't required. I think of something like this as just a reminder to the board, and it doesn't need to have it doesn't have to have the items that sound punitive. Is that the right word?
That's a good term.
It just needs.
Well, we need to have
something to remind ourselves how we should be behaving when we're discussing things outside of board meetings.
It's covered in the Texas Property Code what the responsibilities are.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so if you want to say, here's a copy of the Texas Property Code, fine.
This is way too extensive, and
You provided that.
I provided this. You're right.
You provided both of them.
Yeah, this document is such an overreach. It's
I'm-
yeah.
Okay, well, the
This
fact of the
isn't
matter
from-
is stuff that's being said in executive session is getting leaked out, and this board is having some issues, working as a team, and so that was the only reason.
Very wholeheartedly. Hey, Kelly, please pardon the interruption. There's been no conflicts, no animosity. There's been lots of discussions. There have been lots of questions trying to understand and get on the same page. I want to say right now, I have no problem with any person on this board, and I personally believe this is a good board, and we will do what is in the best interest of this community.
Okay, so then we can agree in open session that whatever is stated in executive session needs to stay in executive session.
That is a given.
It's not being done.
That's your opinion.
I got proof of it.
Oh, well, it's not being done,
okay,
but my point is, are you willing to say who's doing it? Do you know who's doing it? It may be you.
It's not me.
That's what you say.
Well, that would put all of us, in
breach, right? And we could all be
not
removed.
breach. It would.
Can we find some common ground with a couple of basic items in this?
Well,
I don't believe that.
I think somebody should go back and try to recraft that, because that's a piece of crap.
I don't think it needs to be
I'm sorry,
recrafted. I think it's redundant. I do not think it's necessary. And I will not be signing it either.
This wasn't intended to be a final draft. This was decided to. This was just something that I downloaded. I sent to Kelle, because the other one that we discussed in executive session was just not right. But I have been involved in talking with Kelle about things. Who has the floor?
As the board of directors has approved the following code, I take exception to that because.
Well, let's cross things off. This is for discussion.
On policy and procedure.
I mean, if we get this down to 3 lines, that's fine by me, but I think we do need to come to some sort of an agreement between each other about what's proper and what's not proper without resorting to code, because not everybody is following the code, in my personal opinion. So it's just nice to say something, even just amongst ourselves, is when I have a discussion on the board, I'm not going to go throw it out on social media. I'll discuss it here in session. Or I'll talk to the board member about it personally.
Oh, there's an idea.
So this is not a final, was not intended to be a final draft. This was, I printed this down. Kelly asked me if I was okay with what it said, and I said sure. But it was so that we could talk about it, because I think there's some stuff going on that's causing friction. And maybe we just need a reminder to each other in simple terms of what we're going to do as board members. Because frankly, I'm not enjoying this position at all right now.
I don't think any of us are at this point. So join the crowd.
So I make a motion that we talk about stuff like this. But I don't expect anybody to sign this today. And I'd like to see things just crossed off of it and see wording change, because that's what we do in discussion, right?
Well,
We see a problem and we're trying to find a way to all get along together and work for your best interest.
Well, first off, remove the statement that the board has approved this.
Where's that at? Where's it, the board has approved? Is that at the end?
That was when it was sent out. It's an email.
Oh, I never said the board has approved
No.
this.
That asks for signatures.
It's also in the second paragraph of this document.
The
Board
board
of
member?
Directors has approved the following code of conduct. It's right there.
Okay. All right, so that's the first thing we do is we just draw the lines through that. I just drew lines through that. Yes, sir.
Can I make a 10-second comment?
Absolutely. If the chairman agrees.
That document, whether it's good or not, I could care less. But it is a document that doesn't just affect the board, it affects everybody, so it would need to be included in our bylaws, because anybody in here can be on the board. And so if there's gonna be a code of conduct, it needs to be approved by the entire subdivision.
That makes sense.
Through a vote.
If it was to carry forward to the next board, sure. If it was just between us as a personal agreement with each other,
Yeah, it's just
as the board
personal
currently exists, then that would be different. But I agree with you.
Understand.
It could be required if it's gonna be something that carries forward to the future boards,
Right.
that you guys would have to have your own decision on how you want us to word that.
I guess.
My motion to do away with the previous code of conduct on day one. That would bind me legally or anything like that.
Okay, so anything that the board would do, you'd like to see included in that it was only for the term of that board. Is that what you just said?
Well, if,
And maybe we don't need anything at all. Maybe just having this talk in an open session is enough.
I'm not a lawyer, and I don't pretend to be one, but I did seek some legal advice, and I can share it with y'all because it affects us, it affects the property members as well, okay? So if you wouldn't mind handing some copies out, Mike, and I've got one here.
May I ask a question? Were
Yes.
you asked to sign this? Were you asked to sign this?
Yes, we have been asked to
Yes.
sign this.
No, this, for discussion
Y'all
and
haven't
act,
even voted to
email.
adopt
We
it.
haven't even adopted,
The
yes.
email that
Nothing.
was sent.
In the email that was sent.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Yes, we have been asked to sign this.
Well,
We were asked questions.
why would we be discussing it today then? I'm totally confused by that. I haven't signed anything, and nobody can make me sign anything.
I just told you, I'm not signing it.
Does anybody on the board want a copy?
Yes, please, if you've got an extra.
Yes.
Is this what Jerry just handed out?
Yes, it's signed by.
Okay. One copy.
Does anyone have any changes or suggestion on this code of conduct? If not, I will print and have ready to sign. I didn't ask you to sign it. Trying to finalize agenda and your response is appreciated.
Okay, so
It was ready to sign, not asked you to sign it. So,
all right, so what I just heard, since I didn't remember the email telling people they had to sign this, I don't understand how that's even possible. What I heard Kelly just read says it's ready to sign.
Okay, well,
That's significantly different, that one word.
okay, clarification, noted, move on.
So,
I interpreted it as I would be happy to sign it.
Yep,
I I interpreted it as I was being asked to sign it.
I can understand that that's the way you interpreted it.
Everybody interprets things differently. That's why we have these discussions and conversations to clear things up.
So does anybody have a problem with line 1 that says no individual shall use their position as a board member for private or personal gain? Is that unreasonable? Any discussion on that, or should we just take it out? I'm just trying to move through this quickly and decide if we just want to get rid of it.
Is it even needed?
If I want to put that on a resume, that's for personal gain, that I served on this board, I think this document needs to go away.
Yes.
Again, it's overreach, we're already bound by ethics code, it's redundant, it's not necessary, it's a waste of time.
Understood. Any other
Kelly?
thoughts on that?
Kelly?
I think we need some kind of guiding principles because I have to tell you right now, what's been happening has been a absolute shit show.
Thank you
So
for,
I think we need some type of guiding principles that we are all going to act in accordance.
Bill?
I agree.
We need something, even if it's only a couple of lines. You know, we need to have some sort of an agreement because I'm not happy being on this board right now, and I don't think I think we're going to have problems if you guys don't get a board that can work together without taking it out. Gossip is bad. It's cancer.
yeah,
Charlene, y'all were talking at the same time. So Charlene?
Yeah, I've been the victim of slander with private information that only the board had. I've been badgered. Yeah, I've been the victim of it. I haven't engaged in it, but I know it was leaked from somewhere. So yeah, I'm aware it's happening. It has happened as of late. Again, I haven't addressed it. So I agree that there is something going on. I've been the victim of it myself.
I think we all have at that point. But
I don't believe, and I don't have any proof that anybody on this board are the ones that are doing it. So I'm not taking issue with this board. I am on this board as treasurer and a director to do my job. And everything else that is in the background trying to drag me down, I have no time for. So I don't think the problem is within this board.
I don't either. We need to move on. So I suggest that we close this session and move on.
No, we're not closing this session. We can remove or table it for another time.
Perhaps this is something that the board can talk amongst themselves just unofficially, just in discussion about stuff that concerns them, and then revisit the issue, table it.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to table this discussion on the code of conduct at this time.
Do I have a second? Charlene?
And second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Good Lord. All right. Motion, member vote tabulation and then
You can hold
discuss.
that, that's fine.
All right.
You can have that too.
What was this? This was about what? Code of conduct?
This was about the code of conduct and also about proxies.
Okay.
All right, there are 3 of us here. We're opening up the ballot box. Here, you keep that and give that to Charlene when she gets back.
Okay, I'll give it to Charlene when she gets back.
I
I'm
will-
on record.
All right. You want to check the member deals, and then you want to check the.
Okay, where do you want me to check here in this form? Do you want me to?
Okay, I think
We're
it should
taking-
be by last name.
I've got an address here with no name at all.
No, that's the name of the company.
Oh, okay, LLC. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now
It's in
these are in
alphabetical order.
alphabetical order.
Yeah.
All right.
This one should be M.
M's. What's the name?
Magdalene.
Okay. All right, I've got that one.
And
And where do we
what
put,
the vote is
You just put a check out beside it.
no, so that's one.
Elon.
hang on a second, I didn't
Sorry.
finish that.
Beyond votes no.
Anybody else in their hold,
John
or
Feller.
is it just me? It's a little cold. Cause I was gonna, make it a little bit warmer, not the temperature, put the temperature up, so it won't be so cold.
Yes.
I did that one.
Yes, okay.
Gordon, Arthur.
No, it's an air conditioner.
Now there's, David, I know you submitted one via electronically. Is the one that you did today the one that you want to submit?
Yeah, I dated it today.
Oh, yeah.
Really, is this something we got in the mail? I don't remember.
Email.
I didn't get it. Oh, well.
Please, if you have emails, if you will send an email to cbapoa.org. Kelly can confirm that is your email. Otherwise, we have no way of knowing your correct email address or not. Also, if your phone number has changed at all,
Kelly,
yes.
you just asked that people send to cbapoa.org.
No, cbapoa@gmail.com. It's our email address.
Yes, ma'am, but that's the correct, that's not what you said a minute ago, though. I just wanted to, I know you got a lot going on.
No, I just said send an email to cbapoa. That way we would have the correct email address of what the person wants to use.
But I'm supposed to do it.
There's a wasp. Would you do a move something?
Got a Kleenex or something? We'll spend it in
They're hard to kill.
Right, oh, man, I didn't grow it with me. Sorry. Well, they came and handed it or something.
Alright, that one.
Is that an M?
Cody Hahn.
I haven't marked that one down yet.
Oh, you have?
No.
David, do you want this back?
Throw it away.
Let's put it up fast. Next to 11.
Everybody see, the ballots are out.
I got two wolves here, I don't see a Randy on either one of them.
Here's the last one.
It is
Jeez.
right there.
I think this email, Teresa's email,
Did you get here in time to fill out?
I guess I'm supposed to be meeting for 10, I didn't know I had to be here early. I guess it's too late, and I didn't receive it, but
Well,
I know it's right in the record, so.
I need glasses.
Would y'all allow this lady to cast her vote because she didn't get any kind of notification? And she came in late?
I came in, I thought it was 10 o'clock, sorry, I didn't realize.
Yeah, it was, they were supposed to be
Double check that
returned
second page, I don't think it's in it.
by 9 o'clock this
Oh, I
morning.
got you, okay, well,
That's
It's all right.
the first things I paid attention to. It was
I
Like, let me flip to the proxy.
really,
it's strange, I didn't get it. I get emails all the time from people.
Yeah. We don't get emails sometimes from folks too.
Really, me too, I don't know, that's, it's weird.
Yeah, 'cause
Is somebody in the bathroom?
Okay. Well, y'all are finishing
You
that
did get
up.
notification that the board meeting was 9 o'clock, right?
I know, that you saw it, okay. I just knew that we were having a meeting, but I thought it was at 10.
Well, I just think everybody should have their vote.
I do too.
Do you want me to vote? Can I?
We've got to talk about it here.
Okay, all right.
Do what?
did your dad tell you he was going to come to jail?
What did it say?
How do they usually contact? Do they usually send you something, a letter in the mail, or do you usually get it?
Last night I was 11, said something about the security breach, so therefore.
Yeah.
So you got that?
I didn't get it.
Oh, that's a problem.
You could find those sometimes.
That email was sent out like
To their enforcement officer. Because he said, yeah.
I didn't know, because Kelly mentioned it to me in conversation.
Well, it's different.
I just knew it was 10 o'clock, I didn't realize.
Technically, TCEQ can't, but what
Have
happens
you got
is
a phone or
send that over
email?
to the attorney general.
that-
Well, no, they can.
Oh, shit.
No, they can enforcement officer.
Yes.
Which, yeah, well, they were going to make an appointment, they were going to come out and see, and then they were gonna make recommendations. And you guys something we have to report, because when he has made a statement, evidently, he
What's your tally?
I came up with 6 yes and 14 no, but I hadn't read it a second
No,
time.
it's, I got signed
We'll
up.
get to that
And I
yesterday.
think, even though she's late, she should be allowed.
I agree,
To get
I
the
agree.
message
I don't,
that
I mean, I had,
is,
our bylaws don't say a specific time, just at the meeting, right?
oh,
So unless we told them they had to have on the ballot.
you'll be included in the discussion then, but,
Or she gets in here and discuss it. She shouldn't feel like she's being left.
I agree with that.
I'm not sure.
I like the address in the next one.
You won't change it.
no, it's gonna be pretty much the
I think she should be allowed. It's not gonna change the deal.
So
We don't have to get disenfranchised.
Okay, Kelly, Charlene? Okay, a proposal has been made to allow Marilyn Seiler to place her vote. She came in late, she did not receive one. Are y'all okay with that?
Yes.
The board's in agreement.
Okay.
Phil and I are in agreement.
Yeah, the board.
Kelly and
Those present.
Charlene?
Yes.
Okay, Marilyn.
Sorry about that, guys.
That's okay.
Just write your name, address, yes or no, and sign it, please, and today's date.
24th, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it tiebreaker?
No.
Said my phone number, I thought you said.
Address, and then yes or no. That's just the fact. And let me print it fine because whether the board, the board to take out a $20,000 loan.
Oh, I remember, yeah, okay, fine, okay.
Marilyn?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm glad you showed up today.
Better late than never, they say.
Do it.
Hey Kelly, can you confirm, and just write down for me, after the meeting, the email address, because I do show that Ms. Seiler, was in the email, the BCC mailing, so I would like to confirm her email address.
Okay, I'm gonna get her to write it down.
Thank you.
Okay,
I'll get your pen.
yeah, go
Let me
ahead.
have yours, thank you.
There you go. Okay, everything's been tabulated?
Yes,
Okay, and the yes votes,
7,
7, the no votes,
14.
14. Okay, so no pass, no further discussion. Do I have a motion to accept the votes?
I'll make a motion to accept the votes.
Philip seconds.
Philip second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And my tally sheet.
Tally sheet. Okay, getting there. Next board meeting.
Look at the calendar.
September the 21st is the 356 fish fry. We could do Sunday, 22nd.
I propose we do both. The board meeting can happen that morning, and I don't think it wouldn't affect me attending the fish fry.
21st, anybody else?
I'm, as far as I know right now, I'm good for the 21st.
Kelly?
Yep, 21st is good.
Okay, 10 o'clock?
I'd rather do 9.
I can do 9.
Kelly, how does that work on your travel?
That's fine, I'll be there.
Okay. Phil, we don't know where you'll be, right?
I'll attend one way or another. You guys pick a date.
Okay. Sounds like the 21st.
All right, to be determined on place,
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna ask, where?
yeah.
At
All
9.
right,
Why can't we just go ahead and say it in
Do
the
we have a
same
location?
We
building?
don't have a location yet.
we need to, is it in the best interest to spend the money on staying in the building? That's something that we need to discuss, and right now, I think the place, that's moot. We'll, as long as we get the notice out, 10 days, we don't have a vote, we don't have anything, we can get it out 10 days in advance.
Okay,
Okay, so I have 10:43, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Philip seconds.
Is there an open session? For the public?
We're gonna go to executive session after this.
Who seconded Kelly? I couldn't hear someone was talking.
Phil,
Shouldn't you have
So
an
you're
open
denying
session?
open session?
okay.
So there's no open session?
What we're gonna do is, if you have comments or concerns, I have a form here that you can fill out. And then we'll give it to the board, for them to discuss at the next meeting.
So you're denying open session?
I'm confused. I apologize. When we do the vote, isn't this part of an open session?
Well,
We
we've
have
been
two
told in the
open
past-
sessions the same day?
We've been told in the past to hold our comments towards the end because you guys are doing the business.
And then at the end of the meeting, there would be an open session for any questions.
Yeah,
Yes.
but it's not a second meeting, right?
It's not a second meeting, no, so I don't want
No.
this meeting adjourned because there are some questions.
Right, so I have no problem. I think it's great to have
Participation.
from everybody. That's
Yes,
just the fact that you guys came here.
yes.
You know?
So I
and
have a question.
Well,
Wait,
let's wait till we get to that point.
Okay.
No, I apologize for making a motion to close
Okay.
without giving y'all an opportunity.
Yeah,
Okay?
I don't
Would you
think
please
we
fill
were
out
thinking
a-
that through. That was just a faux pas.
Forming.
Is that in our bylaws? I have to put it on writing instead of just talking in
It's
the meeting?
just something that that we'll have for
Okay.
record.
All right. Where's the pen?
I don't think that's required. If anybody doesn't
I don't
want
think
to.
it is either.
It's something that we can.
We'll recognize you. You have 3 minutes to
All right, so my concern
This
is,
we've already adjourned. We will take your questions.
you have not adjourned. You have not adjourned.
We withdrew.
I would, yeah.
And y'all did not vote to adjourn.
No. Jerry
So,
motioned,
I-
Bill seconded.
I'll make a motion to
withdraw your motion.
Yeah, I'll make a
It wasn't
motion to
voted.
withdraw my motion. You second it?
Definitely, we need to have an opportunity at the end of every meeting for you guys to talk to us,
Okay.
please.
So my
And that's what
comment
I
is
was
the Texas
doing this.
Properties Code is here to protect the property owners, not the
And
association.
can you identify yourself first?
My name is Jennifer Harris, I'm a property owner. My point is the Texas Property Code is there to protect the property owners, not the association. That is why it is imperative for the meetings to follow the stipulations that are in the Texas Property Code. I received this email. After careful consideration, the board has made the decision that the washout repair will be the responsibility of those that receive FEMA funds. While I agree with that, I am concerned about the fact that this indicates an executive session that was not reported, was not stated, did not have a summary, and wasn't added to the minutes. This would have had to occur after your executive session last Saturday. So I know because, you know what, I'm around my friends and my family whenever they get their ding, ding, ding with text messages, that a lot of property owners association business and decisions are being made by group mass texts that intentionally disclude property owners. And it's not being stated, it's not being summarized, and it's not being added into the minutes. I encourage you guys to follow Texas Property Code and be transparent. Thank you.
I agree.
Yes.
Travis?
My name is Travis Elliott, I'm a property owner. Just something when y'all brought up paying the hog headed POA to use this building, I think that's a good thing. I would like to point back to the last couple of years that we used the church. The church up here on 356, Carlisle Baptist Church, was flooded during the flood. Multiple times it's been flooded. We used their building. Donnie would come up there and unlock it for us. We'd use the building, and we didn't give them anything. I offer to do AC services for them for free. On some things that hasn't been, they haven't needed me for that. But I would ask that the board consider maybe making a small donation just to say thank you, so that we didn't just use their building and then move on to another place after they got flooded out. So whatever that dollar amount would be, I'd be happy to contribute.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I agree with him, I'd rather see us put money towards that church than I would,
Or we're making a good note on that so that we can.
That was Sandy Kelle?
Sandra Kelle.
Yes, okay.
Mike Harris, I'm a property owner. I have two items. Going back specifically to the code of conduct that you discussed. My understanding is for that really to be enforced in any way, or it has to be entered into the bylaws of the association, which means that has to go to a vote of the members. If that's what they choose to do, you want to have that record of code of conduct for the board members, then it needs to be put out to the members and it needs to be voted on in order to be accepted into the bylaw. Second item, I'm currently recording the meeting, which I'm allowed to do, permitted to do in the Texas Property Code for POAs. It's been stated that I am not permitted to post that anywhere in public, say on
side.
YouTube or put it on to Facebook or any type of recording. Do you have the specific code that you're stating that forbids that?
Texas Penal Code 1605B.
So 16.05B. What's that state? Do you have that there?
Legal divergence of public communications. A person who provides electronic communications service to the public commits an offense if the person knowingly divulges the contents of a communication to another who is not the intended recipient of the communication. So if, say, the Facebook page, there are people that are not specific members of the POA.
Ma'am,
Okay,
I have a degree in information security, and I actually did papers on the Wiretap Act, which is what that is referring to. That is interception of electronic transmissions. That's used for hacking and wiretapping. That is not used for distributing a recording that was not intercepted. It was legally recorded. My lawyer has assured me that if I can legally record something, I can share it, as long as it's not for commercial benefit, which this is not.
And just for public record for this meeting, that recording will be posted on Facebook. There'll be a link on the Facebook page. If the board chooses to take legal action against me,
They will
then-
have to actually vote on that and answer to the members for that, which
Correct.
we have heard from a number of members that they appreciate being able to know what's going on in the meetings when they're not able to attend.
And the act that you state, the wiretap
Does not
act,
apply.
does not apply.
This was what was given to me also. I've checked with Facebook and it says no, you're not supposed to, but I'm not gonna, this is
Facebook
ridiculous.
is not a
It's
legal opinion.
ridiculous, it's ridiculous.
Facebook is not.
Okay,
a
do I have a motion?
Actually, I have one more question here. Why are you fighting so hard to not have this meeting
It's,
recorded and
accessible.
put out to the members? We
I
are
have
the
no
POA.
problems giving it to the members. I have no problems giving it to the members. But the fact that it's on a Facebook page that has other people other than the members.
And,
And that's what I tried to explain.
No, you're
You know?
incorrect. It can be disseminated to
Okay.
any member of the public.
If
even
I have the right to
outside this.
record, I have the right to share.
That's right. So, as I said,
Okay, we need to wrap it up.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I don't think that was.
Does
Was
anybody else have anything?
Any other questions from anybody?
I just have a comment, if you don't mind. My name is Marilyn Seiler. I've been trying to understand all these websites and all this stuff that's coming out, and I've been in other homeowners associations with other homes, other states, and I have never seen so much nitpicking and ugliness, to be honest with you. I don't understand it. I don't know the point of it, and I don't know why things are said about people. We don't care about all that. Keep it to yourself. We need to talk about what's important to these homeowners and the association. We don't need to know about who has this feeling about someone else and why you say that about someone. I don't like to see the negativity. It's to the point I don't even want to read it anymore. But there is important stuff, just as they said, there is important stuff. But I don't like what's going on. I don't understand it, and I'm getting to the point, I'm glad I'm going back into Arkansas next month because I'm really sick of all this crap.
Amen.
Thank you.
Okay, motion to,
hold on, we got
We're not ready for that.
a couple more items here. The board has, earlier on, the board was,
Let's-
There's nothing going on there.
Ladies, we need to have quiet so we can hear on the recording what's being said here.
so earlier on, the board discussed changing or starting a different website, official website for the POA. I would recommend that, I didn't hear it specifically brought up, they mentioned about purchasing a name, talked about Wix a little bit, but if you go forward with this, my recommendation would be that you go with a approved company, as in a company that's in business, a legal entity, and that, if you choose to go through that route, it has to be a company that is in business and they manage the website, or you hire them to develop the website and manage it, or whatever the case may be. I think the point is that the current website is being donated, it's being administered by just as for free by a member of the community, but that is something that the board stated they want to be in, you want to be in control of, perfectly understandable, but it can't be somebody in the community or whatnot. It needs to be a company
That's
that-
accountable.
that's accountable, and that's what, just my recommendation as you go forward.
He had mentioned Wix. David?
Yeah, David Simons, I've lived here for 18 years and I've never quite seen the kind of things that are going on now. But it's not, I've never had Facebook. But I know more about personal business of everybody in here than I ever have. Because it's posted on YouTube and the internet under campbranchacres.org. Where somebody is just making fun of everybody else in the community. And I don't even know who Dudley, what was that, Dudley Dumbass is what he's called. Who is that?
I
I
believe
believe that's my husband.
Pardon me?
I believe that's my husband.
That they're referring to me, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Dudley
'cause he's
Dumbass?
Canadian.
Oh, you're Dudley Dumbass?
Please don't put that in the minutes.
Well, anyway, I don't think it may be legal, but is it ethical? My gosh, it's causing so much division in the subdivision, you know?
It's like the White House.
Well, we don't know who's doing it.
He just said he was.
No.
But he's the character.
I'm
He's
the
the
character.
character.
No. I'm the character.
Somebody's doing it in this community. I mean,
That
because
knows
there's
a
information
whole
that's going
lot.
out.
And
I mean, I get more
And
information
now we've
off
got
of that
somebody
website
out
than
there.
I do from the board.
Just remember,
That's
if we
what we're
talk over
trying to
each
do.
other,
That-
the secretary cannot
Yeah.
make decent minutes.
Yeah.
If 2-3 people are talking, they're not going to be able to understand it. So please let David.
But I honestly, I get more information off of that website than I do off of our official website, which hasn't been updated since June.
The last meeting minutes were on there and then we were,
So, I don't know, that's just a comment. It may be legal, but whoever's doing it is not ethical.
Yeah, well, everybody we talk to denies knowing who it is, so.
Yeah.
And just be aware that it is on YouTube and it's on the internet, that website. So you don't have to have Facebook to
I
find it.
think it's being hosted out of the country with a block so that you can't see if you do an I
I
can't
have
look
no
up
idea.
even who owns it.
All
It's
I did
hidden.
was read it.
Yeah.
That says they're not real bright as far as just, like, really, you're that much afraid?
yeah.
That's what it is, they're afraid. If they have to
Now we
go
have a
through-
vigilante out there that's,
And
so, anyways,
Any other comments?
I'm sorry, you okay, Scott? Yeah, we're going to let Joe talk when Scott's done. Are you okay?
Yeah.
this is
Okay.
for the
Morning,
members.
everybody.
Good
Members.
Good morning.
So I've been in the subdivision a long time, about 18 years or so. But I would like to just make a couple of real quick comments. First of all, the only reason this association really exists is to maintain the roads.
Amen.
We do everything but that. Roads are probably as bad a shape as they've ever been. But here's the deal. We're not trying to land a man on the moon here. We're trying to maintain gravel roads. And that doesn't require a whole lot of thinking and it requires a lot of labor, and I ain't seen a whole lot of that lately. But anyway, it does require effort to be able to do that. So I'll just ask the board if the things, I mean, y'all talked about stuff for about an hour or so right here that nobody gives a big rat's ass about. Right now, you can talk about that maybe sometime else, but meanwhile, back at the ranch, we got a section of road out there that's been out for months. If it wasn't for the good heartedness of a lady that's allowing us to use her property to get back and forth, I think your sense of urgency must be much greater than what it is now, and you wouldn't be talking about this, that, or the other. You'd be talking about that damn road down there.
Yep.
Okay, so the other thing is on that code of conduct thing, this weaponizing of boards and weaponizing of everything, I've had enough of that from the federal government, so I don't need a lot of that going on in a lot around here.
Amen.
So, what I would ask you, especially when you say the chairman does this, chairman does that, correct me if I'm wrong. On the board of directors has a fiduciary obligation to the people that elect them. Is that not right?
Yes.
You represent us. It's a representative type system, right? Because everybody can't participate at one time. but the board of directors is supposed to rule, to take suggestions, rule, and act in the best interest of the subdivision. Is that not right?
Correct.
Yes.
All right. But to say that everything is going to go through the chairman and people can only talk to the chairman, and that's not. I don't think that's accurate. They can. She don't have any more. He don't have any more power than any other board member. Matter of fact, in many cases, she has less because she don't have a vote unless it's a tiebreaker. So to make statements like that and put it in a code of conduct is a little bit beyond the pale, and it's a little bit scary. And I just don't see how a simple task of maintaining the roads, and I can tell you how you do that. You get out there and sweat, you put the gravel on the road, and you get funds to do that. It's not hard. But man, folks, and I give you credit and appreciation for public service and doing what you're doing on the board. But Lord of mercy, for right now, let's remember we got a section of road that's out. If this way that people get back and forth to their homes, and all you people that live up on the hill there or anywhere around there, if that lady didn't allow you to get through there on that road, what would you be doing right now? I don't think we'd be talking about petty stuff that we've been talking about now. We'll be talking about how in the world we're going to get that road fixed. So please, and, for the sake of common sense. And the other thing, guys and ladies, last thing, we spend a lot of time quoting the scripture of the POA. Okay, I get that. Sounds good, all that. But at the end of the day, what winds up is you wind up finding things that we can't do rather than things that we can do. You need to spend as much time looking at things we can do and not things we can't do. And then the last thing, instead of going to the scripture, the quoting scriptures of the Property Owners Association, quote the scriptures with a little bit of common sense and add that to this mixture and see if we can't get a few things done right there.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Joe.
Anybody else?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
11:01.
Philip seconds the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. Do you need to take a 5-minute break?